Welcome to the 5-Minute English Vocabulary Podcast. My name is Herbert Lee, and I'll be your host. Now you can easily improve your vocabulary without memorizing long lists of boring words, and still develop a powerful command of English. You'll learn the origin of words, or etymology, told as easy-to-remember stories. You'll also hear some jokes, and learn some idioms as well. Episode 42. Really Stupid Words, Part 3. Welcome to the wacky world of the English language, where words can often leave us scratching our heads or laughing out loud. From brain dead to no-brainer and absent-minded, these silly expressions have become an indispensable part of our everyday conversations. With a playful tone, we're about to embark on a hilarious journey through some of the most delightfully nonsensical words that will make you question your grip on sanity. So buckle up and prepare to have your funny bone tickled as we delve into this collection of linguistic oddities that will leave you wondering just how such ridiculous phrases ever became part of our vocabulary.
Brain dead. B-R-A-I-N-D-E-A-D. The phrase brain dead originated in the field of medicine to describe a particular state of irreversible loss of brain function. It emerged in the mid-20th century as a way to differentiate this condition from other forms of neurological impairment or comas. The term brain dead was formally described by a Harvard Medical School committee in 1968. And it has since become an established medical concept used worldwide. Have you ever had one of those moments where your mind just goes completely blank? You know, the time when you're sitting at your desk, staring at your computer screen, and suddenly it's like all brain function has ceased to exist. Scientists might call it a temporary lapse in cognitive processing, but I like to call it being brain dead. It's that hilarious state where even the simplest tasks seem to elude our grasp, like trying to find your car keys while they're sitting right in front of you. Being brain dead doesn't necessarily mean you're lacking intelligence. It's more like your brain is taking an impromptu vacation without letting you know. Even the brightest minds have their moments of mental stagnation. It's as if our brains occasionally decide hit the snooze button on life, and take a short break from all the thinking and decision-making we do on a daily basis. So next time you find yourself struggling with simple math or forgetting someone's name right after they just introduced themselves, just remember that even geniuses have their moments of being utterly brain dead. No-brainer. The etymology of the phrase no-brainer can be traced back to the early 20th century. The term combines the word brain with the negating prefix no to convey something that requires little or no mental effort. It refers to a decision or choice that is so obvious and straightforward that it does not require any thinking at all. The literal interpretation suggests that an individual should not even need a brain to make such a simple decision. Over time, the phrase has become commonly used in English as a colloquial expression. No-brainer, a term that perfectly captures those simple choices or decisions that require minimal effort or thought process. It refers to situations where the answer is so obvious and clear-cut that even someone with no brains, hence the name, could make them. It's like when you're asked if you want dessert after a heavy meal. If your sweet tooth isn't already calling out for a delectable treat, then passing on it would be a complete no-brainer. In fact, the term no-brainer has become so prevalent in our everyday language that we often overlook its humor and ingenuity. It not only highlights our ability as humans to recognize straightforward choices, but also pokes fun at moments when we needlessly overthink things. So next time you find yourself
contemplating whether to wear a jacket in freezing weather, or debating between two flavors of ice cream, remember that sometimes life presents us with opportunities for no-brainer decisions, and it's perfectly okay to embrace them. Airhead. The term airhead originated in the early 18th century and has evolved over time to adopt different meanings. Originally, it referred to a person who was lightheaded or dizzy, as if their head was filled with air instead of thoughts. This usage can be traced back to the medieval concept of humors, which believed that certain bodily fluids influenced one's personality traits. Over time, this notion transformed into the modern understanding of an airhead as someone who is forgetful or lacking intelligence. Interestingly, the term also gained traction during World War II when it came to represent military operations. In this context, an airhead referred to a designated area where airborne troops would land and establish a foothold during an invasion. The analogy drawn here is that just like an invading force establishes control in foreign terrain, an airhead, in colorful terms, refers to a person who seems to live in their own little bubble. They may be known for their absent-mindedness, cluelessness, or inability to grasp even the simplest of concepts. While it can be easy to dismiss an airhead as just someone lacking intellectual prowess, there is often more than meets the eye. In a world that values efficiency and productivity above all else, airheads offer a refreshing break from the norm. Their carefree nature and ability to find joy in the smallest moments can teach us a valuable lesson. Life doesn't always have to be serious. Sometimes it's okay to let loose and embrace our inner airhead. Misconceptions about the word airhead abound in common usage. Many people mistakenly believe that an airhead is simply someone who is not very smart or intellectual. However, this popular misconception fails to capture the full essence of what it means to be an airhead. In reality, an airhead refers to someone who often appears absent-minded or lost in their own thoughts, not necessarily lacking intelligence. It's important to distinguish between someone who lacks intelligence and someone who may just have a tendency to daydream. One of the funniest interpretations of the word airhead is imagining someone whose brain is actually filled with air. In this comical scenario, it would be hard to take anything this person says seriously because their thoughts would float away with the slightest breeze. Picture them trying to carry on a conversation, only to get distracted by a passing bird or an interesting cloud formation. These funny interpretations highlight just how flexible language can be in allowing us to playfully imagine different meanings for everyday words like airhead. Whether it's imagining a brain full of air or someone who takes extreme interest in all things airy, these comedic scenarios can bring lightheartedness into our lives and remind us not to take everything too seriously. By redefining airhead as someone who is simply full of air, we are reminded not to take ourselves too seriously. This lighthearted interpretation challenges conventional notions and encourages us to find joy in the quirks and eccentricities that make us unique. Rather than using derogatory terms, adding humor to our vocabulary allows for more inclusive and positive communication. In conclusion, a no-brainer is the ultimate decision that requires zero brain power. It's like picking between chocolate and broccoli. Everyone knows chocolate is the clear winner. No-brainers are the easy choices that make life a little bit simpler and more enjoyable. So next time you're faced with a decision, remember to embrace your inner no-brainer and choose without hesitation. Life is too short for overthinking. Embrace the simplicity and joy of making decisions that are just plain obvious. It's time to let go of the doubts and worry and start living a no-brainer life. Next week, we'll share a bunch of choice words. So until then, it's Herbert Lee saying bye for now.